Okay, good morning. Okay, okay, അപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ മോഡ്യൂൾ 6 ആണ് സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്തിരിക്കുന്നത്. മോഡ്യൂൾ 6ൽ കഴിഞ്ഞ ക്ലാസ്സിൽ എന്തൊക്കെയാണ് ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്തത്? അതായത് നാച്ചുറൽ ലാംഗ്വേജ് പ്രോസസ്സിങ്ങിൻ്റെ ആപ്ലിക്കേഷൻസ് ഒക്കെയാണ് ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്തത്. ഓക്കെ, സോ നാച്ചുറൽ ലാംഗ്വേജ് പ്രോസസ്സിങ് ഒരു ഡിഫിക്കൽട്ട് പ്രോബ്ലം എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. വാട്ട് ഈസ് ദ റീസൺ ബിഹൈൻഡ് ദാറ്റ്? Why natural language processing is considered as a difficult problem? Okay, 1 minute. So in the previous class we discussed natural language processing. Okay, so understanding a language requires inference about the speaker's goal, knowledge of domain interest, knowledge of knowledge of domain interest, assumption, context of interaction, then language skills, etc. So NLP is complex a problem. Okay, so we should consider below factors while implementing natural language understanding problem. Okay, we should consider the below factors while discussing or while writing the natural language understanding program. So which are the below factors? Monotonicity, belief revision, metaphor, planning, learning, practical complexities of human interaction. So we need to consider all these. Okay, so okay, so we should represent the knowledge and expectation of the domain and reason effectively about them. So conceptual dependency, we can use conceptual dependency for the knowledge representation. In the third module we studied about the conceptual dependency. We can use conceptual dependency as a knowledge representation scheme. Okay, but in addition we should consider these issues, that is monotonicity. What is monotonicity means? How to deal with sentences having most, every, some, etc. Okay, that's about the monotonicity. Then belief revision, reversing prior understanding based on new information. Then metaphor. So what is metaphor? Means sentences with the same meaning. For example, curtain of night fell upon us. It's same as it's right. It's night now. Okay, both are same. So we should consider how can handle such sentences. Okay. Then planning, learning, and the practical complexities of human interaction, etc. So these are the issues we want to consider while writing a natural language understanding program. Next, deconstructing language. So what is deconstructing language means? What is deconstructing language? That is high-level analysis of language understanding. So next, language is a complicated phenomenon involving processes such as the recognition of sounds or printed letters, then syntactic parsing, high-level semantic information, semantic inference. Okay, and even the communication of emotional content through rhythm and inflection. Okay. To manage this complexity, linguistics have described different levels of analysis for the language, for the natural language. So, in order to deal with these problems, one problem is recognition of sound. Okay. Second is recognition of printed letters. Third one is the syntax of the program. Fourth one is syntax of the language. Fourth one is semantic of the language. Next, fifth one is emotional content and rhythm. Okay. So, in order to understand a language or in sentence, we should consider all these issues. So, in order to handle these issues, what they have done is that what the linguistic have done is that to manage this complexity, linguistics have described the different levels of analysis for a natural language. One is prosody. What is meant by prosody? This type of analysis deals with the rhythm, okay, rhythm of the language. The level of the analysis is difficult. The level of the analysis is difficult to formalize. This level of analysis is difficult to formalize and often neglected. Okay. So, however, its importance is evident from the powerful effect of poetry or religious chants. That is about the prosody. So, prosody means it deals with the rhythm. Okay, rhythm. Then phonology. What is meant by phonology? Phonology examines the sounds that are combined to form the language. Okay, it deals with the sound. Phonology. Phonology deals with sound. It's important for computerized speech recognition applications. So there are different speech recognition applications. It should handle the sound to understand the natural language. To understand the language. Okay. So that 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 type of analysis is called phonology. That is phonology. Then is morphology. So what is morphology means? So what is morphology? Morphology means here. Morphology. It is concerned with the components that make up the word. This type of analysis deals with the components that make up the word. That is, the components is called morphemes. In bracket I put morphemes. Okay, morphology is concerned with the components or morphemes that make up the word. For example, this includes the rule governing the formation of words such as the effect of prefixes. Okay, unknown, anti, etc. and suffixes ing, ly, etc. that modify the meaning of root words. That modifies the meaning of root words. So next is so what is meant by morphology means it is the it is concerned with the components that make up the word. It is with the components that make up the word. Okay. For example, the use of unknown, anti to a word. Okay, to a word. Similarly, next is it's important to determine the role of a word in a sentence, including its tense, number, part of speech, etc. So that is that's about the morphology. Morphology means It is concerned with the components that make up the word. For example, the effect of prefixes and suffixes. Okay. Next example is determine the role of a word in a sentence, including its tense, number, part of speech, etc. So, okay. So, this is about the morphology, and the morphology means the structure and construction of word, relation of a word with other word in same language, etc. It also deal with the relation of a word with some word in the same language. So this type of analysis is referred as morphology. Okay, it is referred as morphology. And so the prosody means deals with the rhythm. Okay, phonology means it deals with the sound. Morphology means it is concerned with the components that make up the word. Components that make up the word. Okay, so that is about the morphology. Next is syntax. You know what is the use of syntax? Every language has its own syntax. Okay, okay. For example, if it is an English language, in which order we want to arrange the words. Okay. Similarly, in Malayalam, its own syntax will be there. Okay. Anyway, and the syntax type of analysis is another level. It studies the rule of combining words. What is meant by syntax means syntactic analysis means it deals with it studies the rule of combining words into legal phrases and sentences. Legal phrases and sentences. That is called the syntactic analysis. Okay, you already know what is syntactic analysis. Next is semantics. What is semantic analysis? It deals with the meaning of the meaning. Okay, semantic analysis always deal with the meaning of a language or meaning of a sentence. Okay, meaning of a sentence. So that is the fifth type of analysis, semantic analysis. Semantic analysis considers the meaning of the words, phrases, and sentences, and the way in which the meaning is conveyed in natural language expressions. So that is about semantic analysis. Okay. Next one is pragmatic analysis. Okay. So what is pragmatic analysis? It is the study of ways in which language is used and its effect on the listener. Okay. So, pragmatic analysis means it is the study of ways in which a language is used and its effect on the listener. That type of analysis is called pragmatic analysis. That type of analysis is called pragmatic analysis. So, for example, pragmatic would address the reason why yes is usually an inappropriate answer to the question. So, do you have a watch? Uh, do you have a watch? This, this is an example. For example, do you have a watch is the question. Then Study of intended meaning of speaker. Intended meaning of speaker. What is the intention behind the question? Do you have a watch? That is called pragmatic analysis. So pragmatic would address the reason why S is usually an inappropriate answer to the question. So do you have a watch? For example, do you have a watch? Is the question. Then it will analyze the intention behind that question. That type of analysis is called pragmatic analysis. And the last one is world knowledge. So what is meant by world knowledge? It includes the knowledge of the physical objects in the world, comma, the world of human social interaction and all of the goals and intentions in communication. This general background knowledge is essential to understand the full meaning of a text or conversation. So the last one is defined as the last type of analysis is world knowledge analysis. That is, for example, what is the significance means general background knowledge is essential to understand the full meaning of a text or conversation. Okay. So, based on that concept, world knowledge analysis is required. So, it includes the knowledge of the physical world, the world of human interaction, and the role of the goals and intentions in communication, etc. So, these all will be considered in this type of analysis. So, in order to analyze a language, the linguistic developed in order to analyze a language and handle the complexities, the linguistic analyzed different types of or linguistic defined different types of levels. Okay, and that is called one is prosody, next is phonology, third one is morphology, fourth one is syntax, fifth one is semantics, and so on. Okay, semantics. Sixth one is pragmatics, seventh one is world knowledge. So these are the different levels of analysis. Okay, and this is also an important question. Which are the different high-level analysis method of language understanding, or explain about the deconstructing a language. Okay. This is also a university question, deconstructing language. Okay. So, next we want to discuss the translation of an original sentence into an internal representation of its meaning. Okay. So, next we are moving to the next topic, translation of original sentence into an internal representation of its meaning. Okay. So, in this topic, we want to deal with some stages. Okay. A natural language understanding program. For example, automatic translation system, story understanding problem, should translate the original sentence into its internal representation of its meaning. Into its internal representation of its meaning. That is, it should convert the sentence into its internal representation. How it is possible? Okay, we want to analyze a sentence and we want to convert it into an internal representation. An internal representation. How it is possible? That we are discussing here. Okay, translation of original sentence into an internal representation of its meaning. That is, we want to translate the original sentence to its internal representation. So, to do that, there are different stages. Okay, one is parsing. Okay, one is parsing. You know what is parsing? Okay, so second is semantic interpretation. Okay. First one is parsing, second one is semantic interpretation, third one is this. This is the third stage. Okay, this is the third stage. We will convert it to an internal representation. Okay, that is called for that we will use our third module, studied representation scheme. For example, semantic network we will use. Okay, so now we are going to these are the methods. Okay, so first we will do parsing, second we will do semantic interpretation, third we will convert this into the concept knowledge representation scheme. Okay, so that we want to do with the next topic. Okay. So you already know what is parsing. Okay, what is meant by parsing? What is meant by parsing? One minute. Okay, what is meant by parsing? You already know, which analyze the syntactic structure of the sentence. Parsing both verifies the sentence are syntactically well formed as well as determines the linguistic structure. Okay, it will determine the, it will analyze the syntax, also it will determine the linguistic structure. Then by identifying major linguistic relations such as subject verb, cannot here there are different linguistic relations. For example, such as subject, verb, verb object, and noun modifier, the parser provides a framework for semantic interpretation. So, in the parsing stage, what we will do is that it verifies the syntax of the language and also determines the linguistic structures involved in it. That is, what is meant by linguistic structure? For example, linguistic relations such as subject verb relation, verb object relation, noun modifier, then noun and its modifier. Okay, noun modifier. The parser provide a framework for semantic interpretation. So, this is often represented as a parse tree. Okay, you already know syntax tree or parse tree. Okay, so if a sentence or a story is given to the system, first we will perform syntactic analysis on that sentence, and after that it is converted into a, after that it is converted into a, one minute. Okay. Okay. Okay, please wait. Okay, now I am discussing the topics which are descriptive in nature. So please go through the notes and study the topics. Okay. So okay, you can give your attendance in the chat box now. Okay. You can give your attendance in the chat box. Starting from Abhilash. So, okay, now we are dealing with the translation of original sentence into an internal representation of its meaning. Okay, that topic. So, first stage is parsing. Okay, already I told what is parsing. Or syntax analysis stage, convert it into a syntax tree. Convert it into a syntax tree. Okay, so after the you already tree, after the syntax tree is created, we will do semantic analysis on that tree. So, what is semantic analysis? Semantic analysis means we will analyze the semantics of the semantics of the language or sentence. So, next we want to discuss that how can analyze the semantics. So this is about the parsing stage, which analyze the syntax structure of sentence and verifies this. Okay. So next is semantic interpretation. Next is semantic interpretation. So in the semantic interpretation, which produces a representation of meaning of the text, which produces a representation of meaning of the text. We are giving a text or sentence, it will find out the meaning of that text. Okay, meaning of that text. Convert it into the representation scheme. Convert it into a representation scheme. Then, which representation scheme we can use? That is the conceptual graph or conceptual dependency can be used for it. That we discussed in the third module. So during the semantic interpretation stage, meaning of the sentence is analyzed and it is converted into a representation scheme. That representation scheme can be conceptual graph or conceptual dependency. Some other representations there. In the third module, we studied different representation schemes. We can use these also. So, anyway, so next, it uses the knowledge of meanings of words. It uses the knowledge of meanings of words for performing semantic analysis. It uses the knowledge of meaning of words. It needs the knowledge of meaning of words. Okay. So this is about the second stage. So what is second stage means? Semantic interpretation. We will analyze the semantics of the text and we will convert it to a representation scheme. The representation scheme can be conceptual dependency or conceptual graph or some other. Usually in the NLP application, conceptual dependency will be the most suitable one. Next, we go to the third stage. In the third stage, structures from the knowledge base are added to the internal representation of the sentence to produce an expanded representation of sentence's meaning. So this process involved in the second stage. That is, in the third stage. In the second stage, what we will do? We will create a conceptual graph or conceptual dependency, or anyway, we will analyze the meaning and represent it in the conceptual dependency format or conceptual graph. Then in the third stage, we will additionally add the knowledge to that. Okay. In the third stage, structures from the knowledge base. Structures from the knowledge base, that is, world knowledge is added, are added to the internal representation of the sentence. Internal representation of the sentence. You can note here, structures from the knowledge base is added to the internal representation of the sentence. Is added to this. So this is the third stage. So to produce an expanded representation of the sentence meaning. This adds necessary world knowledge. Okay. This adds necessary world knowledge required for complete understanding of the sentence. This is the third stage process. So these are the three stages involved in understanding a problem. So you can analyze this. Okay, this is an example. We are giving the input Tarzan kissed. This is an example in the textbook. Okay, Tarzan kissed Jane. So it is given to the parsing. Okay, so it is given to the parsing stage. Then what will happen? It will convert it to a parse tree. Okay, by using some method. By using some parsing method, it will come to a syntax tree, and the nodes will be, for example, this is a sentence. The nodes will be noun, phrase, noun, then these are the internal nodes: verb, noun, phrase, okay, verbal phrase. These are the internal nodes, and the leaf nodes will be the, you can note here, Tarzan kissed Jane. So these are the tokens involved in the sentence. There are three tokens involved in the sentence. So parsing stage convert it to a parse tree consisting of the nodes The internal nodes are the basic components of a language, okay, verb, noun, etc. And the leaf nodes are the tokens in the program. Anyway, by using some method, it is converted in this way. Okay. It is converted in this way. Then next is the semantic interpretation. So this syntax tree is given to the semantic interpretation. Okay. What it will do, already I told, it will analyze the semantics and convert it to a conceptual graph, or you can note here third module we studied this concept. Okay, this is basically a semantic network. Okay, semantic network, this is a semantic network, converted semantic network, or we can you can think it's a semantic network now. Okay, basically it is a conceptual graph. Okay, a and one. Okay, we will convert it to a semantic network. Okay, then semantic, we will understand the meaning of the sentence and convert it into a semantic network or conceptual graph. And we give this to the last stage. Okay, last stage is contextual world or knowledge representation. In that, what we will do, to this we will add the general knowledge about the world. That we will do. That we can discuss in the next class. Okay. And so this is a descriptive topic. Please study this. We can discuss in the next class. Okay. 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 That's already given.